Okay, I wanted to make this video way earlier, but believe me, I was busy. This is something that I wanted to upgrade to, the S25 Ultra. And I really love this phone for many reasons over my S22 Ultra. And I'm gonna explain that in this video. But I didn't upgrade to this phone. And mostly the money was a big concern, but the second part that could have made me to upgrade to this, spending all those money, hasn't been upgraded at all. And that's my problem with this phone. So here is what I saw and what I felt. Let's start with the design department. I picked up the Galaxy S25 Ultra and noticed some big differences, like it's way more lighter than my 228 grams S22 Ultra, but it's actually pretty obvious. I mean, you can feel it side by side, even though it's only 10 grams difference. But also the sides are flat, totally flat. We knew this design, but this is so different from my S22 Ultra, but very similar to my iPhone experience, kind of similar. But this phone's dimensions are very similar to the S22 Ultra, but also slightly thicker. But I didn't notice it until I tried to compare that. So that's the thing. Now, one thing I love about this phone is the flat display. Seriously saying, I said the same thing last time with the S24 Ultra. Flat displays are just better. Maybe not visually, but they're just better. But I'm going to say because of the screen protector issues and the S Pen problems. But I will come with the S Pen problem in the later part of the video. But the peak brightness on paper is 1750 nits versus 2600 nits. But even with extra brightness toggled on, it's just teeny bit brighter with the manual high brightness. And it shows the same exact behavior of heating. After a certain amount of usage, this phone also heats up like the S22 Ultra, but maybe over time with updates, it will be more efficient because by the time I shot it, it was like very early units. So these are the problems of modern day smartphones. The sustained brightness is not that great. And I'm not saying the Snapdragon 8 Elite is not efficient, but I saw that heating issue on that phone. By the way, did I mention that the top bezel, the side bezels aren't that different on this phone, but the chin is gone. Yeah, it happened last year actually, but this is really cool. You know, tell me in the comments if you are really fan of these new icons, because I'm not at all. They're just so, I mean, like cartoonish, but the control center and the lock screen spill, they are interesting. But that's about it. And if you guys don't know, I have said it in my last review of the S22 Ultra that I haven't upgraded this phone to the newest software updates and I don't want to. There are many reasons behind it. Now, aren't there any other differences? Well, there are. There are many differences. Like the front and the back glasses are different. Corning Gorilla Glass Armor 2 versus Victus Plus. The reflection, the non-reflective display on the S25 Ultra, just like the S24 Ultra, is really impressive compared to the S22 Ultra. And this Corning Gorilla Glass thing is just confusing. I mean, the newer is better, but that's probably it. I'm not going to test that. Same thing can be said about the UFS 4.0 storage versus UFS 3.1. 3.1 is slower, less efficient. That's probably it. Unless you transfer a lot of files from one place to another, you're never going to notice that. Because I don't see any slowdowns or lags on my S22 Ultra in terms of the storage speed. And the same thing can be said about storage options. It's same 256 and 1 terabyte up to. So there is no difference. So where exactly there is difference? The first one has to be the 200 megapixel camera versus the 108 megapixel camera. And sorry to say the least, but I took a photo of the same thing on both of them at the same time, but my S22 Ultra, even having the laser autofocusing system, just like the previous few Ultras as well, couldn't even focus. And I realized that way after taking the photo. So I did take another photo, but this is not exactly the same place, but not the same photo, to show you the detail differences, but you have to trust my words. So the 108 megapixel camera is a weaker one compared to the 200 megapixel one because of many reasons. One is the focusing and the second is the details. The details on the 200 megapixel camera is way too good, like just so damn good. But at full resolution I'm talking about. Now let's look at the 12 megapixel photos on both of these phones because that's something that will be captured by most people. And here you will see a big color difference. But to me, I think even though the S24 Ultra is the more realistic one, the S22 Ultra's one is actually more pleasing to my eye. I don't know why, but that's the reality. And if you look at the photos, surprisingly, my S22 Ultra photos were sharper. Now let's move on to something different about the 3x camera. This hasn't changed. on the newer phone or on this older Ultra, this is exactly same. The difference, again, you can see in the colors. Very much similar to the previous photo. There are the color differences, but if you look at the details, then this is actually opposite of it. Here, the S22 Ultra didn't perform that well, whereas the S25 Ultra has very sharp text on it. Just, I'm saying maybe a tiny bit of a handshake can change the perspectives, and that could be the reason for that main camera difference as well. The 50 megapixel 5x camera is exclusive to this phone if you compare these two phones. But this 5x perspective is actually very unique because this is a new perspective. It's not that zoomed in from 3x to 10x, but at the same time it gives you the 10x mode thanks to sensor crop, which is what you are gonna have if you have to take 10x photos. Whereas the S22 Ultra will switch to the native 10 megapixel 10x camera, which will upscale the photos to 12 megapixel and it will downscale, thanks to the sensor crop technology, from 50 to 12 megapixel. This is where we see, something different. The S22 Ultra photos were grainier because the 10 megapixel 10x camera has very weak aperture, a very weak one, and that struggles in lower light scenarios. And it's mostly artificially lit up, so that's visible here. Whereas the 50 megapixel 5x camera has way better aperture, f3.4 versus f4.9 on the S22 Ultra. So this is a big difference, and that is clearly visible here. Even though the details labels, I would say, give or take same, but the graininess is visible on the S22 Ultra. But if I move to a brighter situation, which I couldn't do here, I can get photos like this on the S22 Ultra, and that's also unbelievable because that's where I have the sunlight to compensate the narrower aperture on that phone. The only thing remained, the videos and the 100x zoom camera. And this is where I see no difference. They both performs very ugly way but unique way. Not that many phones offers this 100x zoom, and it is useful at certain times, but also at the same time the quality is mostly dependent on the software or algorithm, not that much on the camera. So the photos are like this, but still I would give the winning to the S25 Ultra. And to satisfy you guys, I have another photo of a 10 megapixel 10x photo versus a 10x photo taken on the S25 Ultra using its 50 megapixel camera. And you can see the details differences, and you can see the native resolution versus the downscaled one, which makes the S22 Ultra a winner in this case. The S22 Ultra is slightly better, but better. Now let's look at the ultra wide angle photo. Now if I crop in the center of the ultra wide angle camera, which is where you will see the most amount of details, thanks to the 50 megapixel camera on the S25 Ultra compared to the 12 megapixel unit on the S22 Ultra, you can see that this 50 megapixel camera is really sharp, but at full resolution, but only if you take it. Most of the time you're not going to use that feature, and that's the problem, because other time it will look very much similar to the S22 Ultra, because ultra wide angle perspective is very weird actually, to be honest. At 13mm focal length almost, this too much of details is almost irrelevant. It seems like if I upscale the photos of the S22 Ultra using AI, it will look very much similar to the S25 Ultra. I'm not hitting on it, but I'm just saying it. It's not drastically better. And if I look at the text and the corners, then you can see it very clearly that the 12 megapixel photos of the S22 Ultra is still very good compared to the 50 megapixel unit on the S25 Ultra, and maybe way too good. So where exactly is the difference? In the video, well, there are very good things like 8K 30 on the possible on the S25 Ultra versus not possible on the S22 Ultra because it's only 8K 24 fps. At the same time, there is a very good feature. You can shoot in log format in pro videos. That's very good. This is what I wanted on Samsung phones, and it's finally here, which is not at all possible on any other older flagships, even with the newer software updates, as much as I've heard. And on the S22 Ultra, it's not possible at all. So this is a very good thing. I love the videos on the S22 Ultra and on the S25 Ultra, having log format, a clear winner. Also, I took multiple photos on both of them using the ultra wide angle camera, that macro photos, but they looked very similar. But the S25 Ultra's ones were were slightly more sharper with much less grain, but I couldn't look at how much detail they are because ultimately the photos came out slightly more blurrier than I wanted. Now, if you look at the selfie cameras, then the S22 Ultra actually has way more bigger selfie camera. It's a 40 megapixel unit versus the 12 megapixel on the S25 Ultra. I don't know why Samsung went with that route, but maybe it will help in other situations. But if you take high resolution photos, the S22 Ultra is a clear winner. I mean, like, you can see the details, but who wants detail in selfie cameras? Now, for fun, I took many videos with the S25 Ultra versus S22 Ultra, using their 8K capabilities, sometimes their 4K capabilities on all the cameras. And all I can say that S25 Ultra can take 8K videos using the 5x camera, the ultra-wide-angle camera, and also the main camera, except the 3x camera. This is where it will use the digital cropping, whereas the S22 Ultra will not be able to use any other camera except the main camera. That's one thing. Now, if I compare the videos, I mean, like, it will not make sense because it's very similar to what the photos were. It will be different in color tones, and there will be slightly more details on the S25 Ultra versus S22 Ultra, and only in certain cases. Mostly, it's not. So, I didn't upgrade because of only one reason, and that's the cameras. Even though it's the 200 megapixel camera, but if I really want that camera setup, then I would go right ahead and buy the S24 Ultra instead of this phone, because I still love the pointy sharp corner design over this design. I'm not hating on it, but I'm just saying it. I would save a lot more money on it as well. And it's mostly because they haven't upgraded the main things of the cameras from the S24 Ultra to S25 Ultra. That's the big problem. If they would have upgraded the 3x camera, which, like, the most amount of camera upgrades were needed in the 3x department, they did nothing in it. If they would have done something in this, or at least in the main camera sensor size, then there were a chance I could have upgraded. So all I'm saying is that the S25 Ultra has some great features, like a much better 200 megapixel sharper detailed camera, but only if you shoot in the high resolution mode, which most people are not going to do every single day, 8K 30 fps over 8K 24 fps, log recording, 5x perspective, a slightly brighter screen, and much better battery life, and definitely a performance headroom. But my S22 Ultra isn't performing that badly, or the battery health isn't that bad. Also, if I really want all those features, or most of them, then I could have done the upgrade last year with the S24 Ultra. And mostly because the trading deals are not that great even when it was launched, and right now it's even worse. So if I'm spending all that money, I might need to have something better. Like, we are hearing that the S26 Ultra might get a 4x 200 megapixel telephoto camera with sensor crop, and that might also replace both of these telephoto cameras on the S25 Ultra or even on the S22 Ultra. And we're not hearing that much about the main camera sensor size at this moment, and I think they should also upgrade the main camera, because for the last 3 years we are hearing the same exact 200 megapixel 1/1.3 inch sensor. We definitely need bigger sensor. Let me know about your thoughts in the comment section below. What do you think about this upgrade, and have you done this upgrade, and what your thoughts are on this, because it will help a lot of other people. For me, the amount of money I had to pay wasn't worth these small little upgrades. And yes, if you feel like you need some really cool wallpapers for your devices, whether it's a tablet or a smartphone or even a laptop, well, I have some crazy cool 8K wallpapers, stunning designs, and amazing colors. Visit my website, joindavid.com, link down below. And until the next one, bye and take care.